What is up, everybody? Jordan here with the deck box, coming back to you tonight with a new deck profile. Really lacking a voice right now, so I do apologize. I know it sounds really weird, but I hadn't recorded in, man, about a week, I think is what it's been. And that's been because I've been sick since last Sunday. My voice has gone in and out. I had some other stuff pop up, so it hasn't been great. But we are looking at Lucario again tonight. I couldn't help myself. This is just such a cool card. I know it's not really anything that new. We do have, of course, ZOROPOD that's out, and it's kind of the same but slightly different. Excuse me while I mute the sound here. You know, it does kind of the same thing where you do this simple effect and you swing for 90 more damage, and you know, it's just a really cool effect. But what's different, of course, is Lucario hits the fighting weakness, which is really big right now with Zoroark running around. So we're taking these easy one-shots against a card that's in about half of the decks that we see now, if not more than that. So if you saw the last video, excuse me, you saw that we went over Lucario Garbodor, and then on Tuesday, I believe it was, I actually streamed on Twitch and went over that list a little bit more. I think that's what I'm going to try to start doing now is, you know, whatever video I've done recently, I'll go back and kind of recap that on Twitch and do some more live action feed of that, just so you guys can get a little bit better taste of it. And then also in those streams, I've been doing some other decks just for fun. I'll do audience requests. You know, if people have a deck they want me to check out, I'll do it. Absolutely, and we just have fun. So if you haven't had a chance to hop over to Twitch and check out the channel, please do. I think the plan for this week is to do Thursday night. It'll probably be around 9 o'clock is when it will start, Central, 9 p.m. Central. And typically been going until about 11 or 12, you know, for about 2 or 3 hours, getting some games in and just having fun with you guys. So if you have joined me, thank you. If you have not, please be sure to hop over there. It's twitch.tv/thedeckbox channel. Very simple to find. And yeah, so I'll be there Thursday. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to hop into this list, and I'm going to explain to you the cards, why I play the cards I play, and just how the deck runs. Excuse me. I'll get that last cough in before we go. So this is, like I said, it's kind of a Zoroark focused deck. So we are running for Zorua. We're making sure that we get our Zoroark-GXs out. The quicker we can blow through our resources, the better we're doing. And I know we don't want to just blast through them all and lose them and deck out. Obviously, something that I want people to understand, and I still don't think everyone understands this. I think a lot of the top players will understand that just because you have a Zoroark out does not mean that you need to trade, okay? And what I mean by that is there's the obvious ones. Late game, if you've got the game in the bag, and your deck is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, you don't want to keep digging through because you obviously don't need to. And a lot of times I noticed early on that I was running the risk of decking myself out just because I saw Zoroark and I was like, oh, I gotta trade. It's like, no, you don't. It's not always a big deal. You don't always have to trade. Then there are also occasions in the middle of the game where you have everything you need for that turn. You've done your attachment. You've played the support you want to play. You've got multiple Pokemon set up. Sometimes it's cool to just sit back and not trade because you don't need anything necessarily. And some people try to force it almost. Now, it's more often than not that you are going to want to trade because you want to set up for the future. You don't want to draw into some cards at certain points. But there are times that you can just hang back and chill. So you might see that happen here. I don't know yet, but we'll see. But just keep that in mind when you are playing these Zoroark decks. Just because you can trade doesn't mean you always should. Because there are times where it can really mess you up. Just something to keep in mind. But as we know, besides trade, Zoroark also has Riotous Beating. This attack does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play. So you're swinging for 120, 150 with a Choice Band. Pretty solid. A lot of decks I know are including Kukui. I am not. And basically, it comes down to this deck really only one-shots if it's with our breakthrough Zoroark, which we play one of, excuse me, or with Lucario, or Mew, of course, we do run Mew. So we have those options to one-shot. And I don't really need Zoroark to be able to do that. That's not really the focus of this deck. The focus is more on on Lucario, excuse me, taking big knockouts, things like that. Now, obviously, Zoroark-GX can come in handy if it's going to be a two-shot anyway. Sometimes Zoroark-GX is a little bit faster just to set up, and it's there while I'm adding those additional energy to Lucario. So, just something to keep in mind there. Going back to the Breakthrough Zoroark, the stand-in Zoroark, by now we probably all know the ability, once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch this Pokemon with your active Pokemon. So, really solid to get things out of the active that you don't want there. Maybe you have a very vulnerable stage 2 in the active, it's about to be knocked out or something, and if your opponent gets 2 prizes, they win. But if you can get Zoroark out there, maybe swing for some damage, and they take 1 prize, it's not going to lose you the game. So just something to keep in mind. Zoroark is a great secondary attacker. You also have Pokemon like Alola Ninetales, like Hoopa, that cannot be attacked by GXs. So stand-in Zoroark does a good job of dealing with those guys, and it hits great numbers. I mean, if their bench is filled up, you're swinging for 160, but of course, if you have a Choice Band, you're swinging for 190, and what does that take out? It takes out Ho-Ohs, Booloos, Volcanions, Lele's, all these big basics. It does really solid damage, so it's really, really good to have this guy in your roster. Moving on from there, looking at Lucario-GX, real quick, I mentioned this in the Lucario Garbodor video, but I know not everyone saw it. But there are multiple different Riolus, and I've personally seen this a few times. My friend Matt mentioned it, that he's seen people playing with the Ultra Prism Riolu, which to a lot of people that makes sense. It's the latest one, it's what we have, but it's not the better Riolu. So the one from Ultra Prism, you have Detect, where you can prevent effects of attacks, yada yada, if you flip a heads. It's a coin flip attack, so not the best. And then Jab can do potentially 30 if you have a Strong Energy and Choice Band 60. So not bad, really good, right? But then you go over to the Crimson Invasion Riolu, and its first attack, excuse me, is the same as the other Riolu's second attack, where again you're swinging for 60 with a Strong Energy Choice Band. And then you have Low Kick, which is even better. You know, this is one of the things that Matt was looking at when he was talking to me about it. 2 Strong Energy on Low Kick, you're swinging for 70, which one-shots that Hoopa with the barrier. Which it's a very rare occasion, but I've actually had it come up, and Riolu's come through for me on that. But just having these 2 attacks on this Riolu just seems better. Obviously, both of them with a Strong Energy, you're going to take down Zorua's and oh gosh, Eevees. So you're not losing any on that, but the secondary attack does help if for some reason you need to hit just a little bit different number. Just something to consider, kind of an odd thing to look at, but the basics are important. Then moving on to the GX, which if you haven't seen this, it came out in some promo boxes, I think within the past couple weeks. I have actually ordered I just bought the singles of the Lucario-GX, so I should have those showing up this week. But this is a promo, so that's really the way to get it, is either through singles or the promo boxes. I think they're about 20 a piece on the boxes, depending on where you go. But the first attack is really cool. For 1 fighting energy, does 30 damage, but if this Pokemon evolved from Riolu during this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. So again, very similar to Golisopod, where you fulfill a certain act and you're swinging for 90 more damage, so 120. But what's really, really cool about this is if you're doing math, and this is again why I don't play Kukui for Zoroark to do its thing, is because a Strong Energy with a Choice Band on Lucario, you're swinging for 170 damage. So that takes down your Lele's, which is really big. That's in a lot of people's list right now, are Lele's. I would say 99% of the list have Lele in it. And to have this to be able to one-shot that is great. But from there, we have a lot of other Pokemon that are very important. 2 shots pretty much anything else. But if you're looking at a deck that includes Zoroark, you are swinging for a perfect 240. I say perfect, that's overkill on a Zoroark, but still 240 damage with that weakness. So you are one-shotting Zoroarks pretty much on your second turn, which is really, really solid. And what's great is whenever you take down a Zoroark, you're doing more than just taking down a draw support or an attacker. You're taking down both at the same time. So it's something to really consider when you're building your decks is how do I take down Zoroark? And I think Lucario kind of answers that question in a much quicker way than say a Buzzwole or a Lycanroc would do. You know, just the one energy attachment is really, really solid. But from there, he also has other good attacks. For 2 fighting and a colorless Cyclone Kick, just a solid 130. So if you're doing some more math, again, if you have that same strong energy attached and then just basics the rest of the way, you're swinging for 150, 180 with a choice band. So that's your Volcanions, your Boolus, things like that. And obviously it just gets higher and higher as you add strong energy. But what I think is really cool, the GX attack on this card is nuts. Cantankerous beat down GX 30 times. This attack does 30 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So basically, if you don't one-shot Lucario, he is just going to destroy you. The only way I can think of you getting around it is like literally poking him once just to get him slightly in range. And when I say poke, I mean like 50 damage, and even that's pushing it. And then coming in with a big knockout hit later. So really the only solid way to just one-shot this thing is just build up a massive attack and take him down. If you have to two-shot him, you're in trouble because, you know, once you reach, like I said, 50 damage on him, okay, let's say 50. That's 150 that he's swinging for with his attack. Choice Band is at 180, so it's taking down those big basics. If he's got a strong energy, he's at 200. If he's got 2 strong energies, at 220. So, you know, just kind of adds up. So anything over 50 is really just like insanely high. It's going to be killing it. Even if you're just poking for 70, that's 210. He's taking down any stage 1 in the game right now. So Lucario is a very, very dangerous Pokemon. And what's really fun and scary at the same time is playing this mirror match. Because if your opponent or you loses your Mew-EX at a certain point, then you're kind of stuck having to use your other Pokemon and kind of tiptoe around Lucario. And you're trying to figure out how am I going to one-shot this thing without it just destroying me. So, because they are mostly 2-hit knockout decks. So, something to keep in mind when you're building your decks is to make sure you have ways to one-shot Lucario while also playing with Lucario. Alright, I think I spent enough time on him. Then from there we have the one Mew-EX. This is of course for the mirror match. Lucario is weak to Psychic, that is a bummer. But Mew-EX allows us to use any of our Pokemon's attacks in play and our opponents as long as we have the necessary energy to use the attack. So this is a great way to one-shot them, which is great. I don't include this in my other Lucario list simply because Mew really can't use Lucario's first move and it's kind of pointless. You really only want to use Mew for your Zoroarks, typically, those attacks. They just work a lot better. Then from there, 2 Tapu Lele. Obviously, we're just looking to use Wonder Tag to get our supporters, get those turn 1 Bridgets, things like that, and get set up. Then I chose to play 1 Enhanced Hammer to just discard a special energy from my opponent's Pokemon. It's really great to be able to discard a special energy on their bench and knock out the active that has a special energy on it. Just kind of a 2-for-1 in one simple turn. Is always a great combo to pull off. Then from there, we play 1 Evosoda. I felt like that was good enough in the list to be able to potentially get a Zoroark set up in a tight spot where maybe I didn't want to discard something. So using Evosoda over Ultra Ball was the better option. Then from there, since this is a Zoroark list, we do play 4 Puzzles of Time. It just makes sense. We're able to thin up a lot of our lines, and that way, you know, we can choose puzzles to get back what we need. And if we run low on resources, then we're covered, no matter what it is, whether it's Pokemon, energy, supporters, items, you name it. Puzzles just really comes in clutch for us. Then from there, we're looking at 4 Ultra Ball. Pretty much a staple in every deck to be able to get our Pokemon out, whether they're evolving or they're Lele's, doesn't matter, it doesn't make a difference. We have them there for that. And then we have the 1 Parallel City. This is great in the mirror match. If it's a Zoroark, you know, if it's a Zoroark list, you can shrink up the amount of damage they can do by shrinking their bench to 3. But at the same time, I like using Parallel against myself And what I mean by that is if I have 2 really damaged Pokemon on my bench that I know are going to get knocked out, they're not going to do me much good, I can parallel myself, get them off my bench, get rid of those liabilities, and move on from there. Also, it's great to get Lele's off the bench. Really, you're just going to use your Lele's to get your supporters, and then from there, you're kind of done with them. It's very rare that you're going to need them to attack, and if you need them to attack, you're in a really tight spot anyway. So it's great just to get rid of them because they're very easy targets. Then I do play 2 Acerola. You know, I know a lot of Lucario lists are playing Acerola. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I've seen it come in clutch for me. This is something that I may tweak and just cut down to a 1 of, and then maybe up my Evosoda or E-Hammer count. But I don't think it's very necessary with Lucario. I think people think it is to reset that attack, and certainly it is, but I would much rather prefer to just build up my Lucario from there and take some solid knockouts that way, and it's worked so far for me. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like if this card ends up in my hand, I just trade it away. So I probably will trade that maybe for another Parallel, Evosoda, or E-Hammer. Still have not decided. And then from there, with it being a Zoroark list, we do run 3 Brigette because late game it's going to be a great card to just dump. But at the same time, we want to guarantee that we hit this turn 1 so that we can set up our Zorua, set up our Lucarios, or Riolus rather, and just start swinging on our second turn. Then we have, for draw support, 3 Cynthia, great new draw support, 2 N, and just 1 Sycamore. So just 6 draw supporters, and I could very easily argue that Mallow is a draw supporter as well. And Mallow is great. For a while I wasn't including it in my Zoroark list, but I feel like now each Zoroark list needs at least 1, if not 2 Mallow, because you're able to set up these crazy combos of things that you would not necessarily hit if you didn't set it up. So I can just pick, well, in this case, Lucario Strong Energy or Lucario Choice Band, and just pull off a really nice hit with him right out of the gate, or for a nice clutch knockout to end the game. Mallow allows us to set that up. So, and yeah, you'll notice the draw supporters, only 6 of them there. Pretty light. Like I said, we do have puzzles, we're able to get things back. Plus we have 4 trades potentially, so we're not going to be short on resources for sure. We also do have these 2 Guzma, don't want to slide past that. Just 2 because, again, puzzles, and so far so good with that count. Then for tools, we do have 3 Choice Band. This allows us to hit some nice numbers. Like I said, Strong Energy Choice Band on a Lucario will swing for 170, which is very, very nice. And then from there, it just keeps getting higher and higher. We also have 2 Float Stone. This is good for a couple reasons. We can essentially just use our Breakthrough Zoroark to swing things in and out. You know, if we have something in the active we don't want, we can swing Zoroark, Breakthrough up there, attach the Float Stone, retreat into something we do want, so we don't have to put a Float Stone on something that we'd rather have a Choice Band, or maybe it already has a Choice Band, so it's kind of stuck. Then we have 4 Strong Energy, which, if you don't know what that does, it adds 20 extra damage to your fighting to the fighting Pokemon that this card is attached to for each one. So it just kind of stacks, which is really, really great, especially in this list. And then 4 DCE and just 3 basic fighting energy, and that about sums up the list. Now we are going to hop onto the ladder, grab a couple games, and we'll show you how this works. And as I mentioned, Thursday, 9 p.m. Central, I will be on Twitch streaming, and I'm going to be playing this list on there for part of the time, just to kind of, I don't know, just show it off a little bit more for you guys. And maybe by then I've made some tweaks, and we'll see if those do better than how I have it now. Oh man, this would actually be decent if we had a basic. Okay, good. Not too shabby. Alright, and it is a Buzzwole. And that's going to be problematic for us. I'm not going to lie, I've had a lot of matchups against it though. Oh, don't end me out of this hand. It's a good hand. Oh well. I've had quite a few matches against Buzzwole because it's just everywhere online, and this list actually holds its own and actually wins most of the time. So I'm not unhappy with how it's been going, and so I think we should be looking at a decent match here. It's gonna be a tight one. I'm not gonna lie about that. It will be tight, but it will definitely be a good one. I do eventually want to get the Mew out. I want to keep. We'll bring this guy here because we're just going to get a bunch of trade. One thing I've learned is I don't want to be afraid of a fighting deck just because it's a Buzzwole. And I will still attach here. Next turn I'll be able to Ultra Ball, grab myself a Zoroark. No, we'll be low on stuff. Oh well, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll see what we top deck. May just grab Sycamore. He is going to Guzma. He's probably going to take down that Zoroark. That's fine. Max Elixir going to build some things up. He missed it. That's good news. Float Stone. All right. And there goes our first Zorua. All right. Bring this guy up. All right. We'll bring this here. And I think I am going to just Lele Sycamore instead of just getting the one draw. Yeah, we have Sycamore in here. We will attach the Choice Band. All we're needing is an energy, which of course we do hit it. Not too difficult to do that. I will, yep, I'll do that. I'll grab a Zoroark. I'm not going to trade this turn. I'll hold on to it. Yeah, I will. And I'm going to swing for 150 here, which is really good because next turn we can knock him out. Unless, of course, he does that to us first. He would either need a Strong Energy or an Energy Choice Band, though. And I don't think he's going to get that combo. So he may have... Oh, no. He got the Strong Energy. Now the question is he going to go for a Guzma here and go for my Zoroark-GX, just get greedy with it? If he does, I'd actually be okay with it. No, he's going to get Sycamore. Okay. The good news is, it seems like no matter what happens this next turn, I'm going to be able to knock out Buzzwole. And then he'll have another one set up here. But he's going to have to start over with his energy counts again. Oh no, he's got a Garbodor. Excuse me, it's a Garbodor list. So, 3 items so far. Excuse me. Okay, let's see here. Let's dump Guzma. Get another Zoroark, that's good. I'll attach this now. I will wait to do the trade till after using the Cynthia. So we can trade. We may have screwed ourselves. A Choice Band would be really good here. Or another Puzzle. Or Lucario, that does it too. So we're swinging for that 120. Little overkill there, but that's fine. We had to make sure to hit that to take the knockout. And that Strong Energy E-Hammer there is really, really good for us if he starts to build something up again. Particularly if he uses Trash Launch, then, which that's not a guarantee, but if he does, he'll be using Rainbow Energy, so we'll be able to handle those fairly easily. There is another Buzzwole coming out. So we do see a Cynthia. The good thing is he has 2 Lele's down. Those are fairly simple targets for us if we can set things up appropriately. He's used, let's see, he's used at least 2 Float Stone. Yeah, 2. Alright, so our abilities are locked down, which kind of sucks. And he's going to start building up energy on Buzzwole, of course. So he's swinging for 160, 180. That brings him within 10. Oh, forgot about this guy. Do that. Yeah, we'll do this. Set him up. We'll pretend like he's not going to be knocked out. Because it would take, again, another combo to get him to be knocked out. Hold on to our hand. We're going to hold Cantanker's beatdown and just swing for 50. Now he has to hit Choice Band here if he wants to hit me, or Fury Belt, which hits it perfectly, of course. What I would really love to see is my Mew-EX. That would be great right about now. Because that would, I mean, Mew-EX and a DCE would be what we need. We'd have to like get a Sycamore to find all that, which we don't have. And let's try to stall something here. And we just have to pass. Yeah, he's got a Guzma or something, Float Stone. That figures. Alright, well that was not a good showing against Buzzwole. He got things set up pretty well, played it appropriately, and honestly shutting down our abilities there kind of hurt. It was only for a couple turns, but it did its job. Okay, we're going to grab one more game with this, see if I can show it a little bit better for you guys. Hopefully this isn't one of those decks that like does really well for me off camera. And then I record it and it's like, no, it's not good. I don't think that's the case. I know this is a good deck. I've seen other people play it as well. It's done well for them. I've done lots of testing with it. So I do know it's good. What an outfit. Looks like a straight Psychic list. So maybe Espeon Garb. Or maybe even Drampa Garb. But I would lean more towards Espeon Garb, which again, it's another bad matchup for us. So this may be something where we see more Zoroark, or like I said, we can get our Mew out. Which honestly, I think that was a big misplay in the last game. I did not get my Mew out, and I had opportunities where I could have. So that was my mistake. Mewtwo EX. Okay, this will be interesting. Now, even though we're weak to this, we could still do a solid knockout on it as well because it has 170 HP, which I know when it Mega Evolves that changes, but we'll see what happens, see if we can get things going before that gets set up. Man, they got all the bling. Okay. Oh, you know what I'm just realizing? I've been making this mistake a lot. So, I didn't include Field Blower in this list, if you can believe it. And I don't even know why I didn't do that. I'm actually going to use Riolu to attack this turn. I'm going to Cynthia and... because I need more Pokemon. But anyway, I just realized I don't have any Field Blower in the list, so maybe that's what I cut Acerola for, is some Field Blowers. Gosh, this is awful. Let's cut these two. I'm gonna be like a turn behind. Takes a DCE. I'll just get a Zorua. So yes, I would definitely say if you're playing a Zoroark deck, don't forget your Field Blower. But this list has done well for me despite that. I don't know how I got around it before, but now I know that'll probably help things out. Like I said, I'd probably just cut the Acerolas because they haven't been doing me much good anyway. I'll go heavy Zoroark in this list. Put this here. Well, hopefully this doesn't turn into a blowout. I may have to grab a third game. Otherwise, I'm gonna think I'm crazy. For that max elixir setup. I'm trying to think of, like, I don't know, just like the best opportunity against this deck. And the problem is, it's just not, whenever you have Psychic weak Pokemon going up against an all Psychic deck, makes it really difficult. So like I said, I have to go heavy Zoroark. And the good thing is, Zoroark has resistance, so that's always nice. So we do this, and that's going to be swinging for 140. I need to swing for 150 to take that, so I need a Float Stone as well and a Choice Band. We do get Mew. I am going to bring that out as an option. Do that, and we'll click done for now. So at this point, a DCE Float Stone would be good because Mew can come out and start swinging. And then, of course, Mew will probably get knocked out by Mewtwo at some point. It's pretty much inevitable with the weakness. But again, we do have puzzles, we can get them back and cycle through. But if we can just start taking things down that have energy built up on them, that'll be our most important thing. And with him having a poke, it's really helping us. Let's Cynthia. Float Stone DCE. I could just DCE. No, that's only 120. So yeah, I would need to do this. Yep. I'm gonna hold on to the why are you smiling? I'm nervous. Anyway, I could trade. No, I'm gonna keep my hand. We will ride his beating. Take a big knockout. That puzzle's great because if Mew gets knocked out, we are good. Super on, okay. Oh, you end us having a great hand, dude. Oh, man. Had he not end us, we would have been good, even with the knockout that I pretty much know is coming. Unless he doesn't get the stuff he needs. Maybe he doesn't get the stuff he needs. We do have a puzzle, so we just need a second puzzle. Or a Mallow. Just give us a Mallow and we can set things up. I'd be okay with that. Double Brigette. Perfect. Here for now, so they can't use any more Lele's or anything. Could go for the Choice Band Strong Energy play. Oh. Yeah, I should Mallow. No, I've already used my trades. Okay. So, I'm thinking Sycamore, go for the best options. It dumps a puzzle, still got 2 in our deck. I'm going to do that. Because we obviously prized one puzzle. I'm not going to attach the DCE. Let's see what we get here. Alright. And do a little bit more trading. This guy, I would be swinging for 140 with this guy. So he could knock me out, and then next turn I can bring him up. Even if he evolves, I'd still be swinging for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 on top of the 140 to be 210. So I would knock him out either way. Risk it for the biscuit. Probably not the best option, but so he's only swinging for 60, 120. Which if he does, then you know he's just knocked out. Okay. Okay, so it would be really cool to get a Guzma to just use this attack on something that's not damaged yet. Oh, and he just scoops it up because he knows that since it didn't knock it out that it was being taken out. He didn't have any other setup. Okay, wow. The fact that we came out on top of that. I know it's Mewtwo, and Mewtwo hasn't really been around for a while, but Mewtwo hasn't been around for a while because of its psychic weakness, and that kind of hurts us with our psychic weakness. So, awesome. Very cool that worked out. So, here's the deal. Don't be jaded by the fact that it didn't have Field Blower. Like I said, it's been playing really well for me. I'm going to look into the list and tweak it for Field Blower because that's just dumb that I wouldn't have it in there. I'm probably going to cut, yeah, both Acerola and just put in Field Blower because I never use Acerola. They just end up getting wasted, so that's what I'll end up doing. So for those of you that do come and watch the stream on Thursday, that will be different. But everything about this list should still be the same. So please come check it out. It's going to be a good time. My voice will be back. It'll be great. Going to try to get song requests set up and everything like that. But guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. Like I said, sorry about not recording for a week, but I will get more consistent this week now that I'm back feeling a little bit healthier, and we can just keep things rolling. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like for me. I'd really, really appreciate that. And as usual, if you haven't already subscribed, please be sure to do that. Always looking to get more subscribers because I really enjoy having you guys around. But as usual, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I have been Jordan with the Deck Box, where I want to know what's in your box. Have a great day, guys.